Really, thanks a lot. Thanks for staying, because it was tough programming this after the awards ceremony. I mean, we were absolutely sure it was going to win multiple awards from the beginning. That was my assumption, and it was an incredible film, and I think that it sparked a lot of debate amongst the jurors, and it was I wasn't real sure about programming it here. I mean, I knew I wanted it in Austin, and we can program anything here, but I thought that there was some boundary issues that may have been tough for Victoria. I mean, it's a more conservative community, and after about a week of thinking about it, I just thought, there's no way I'm not programming it here. I thought that it was one of the most incredible films that we got submitted, and
well, thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, seriously. First of all, it was just beautiful shot. There was just no way I wasn't going to program it. So anyway, there's a lot to be said about this, but are you from New Mexico? I noticed that you have some shorts. Yeah. Where are you from in New Mexico?
Well, I grew up right outside of Albuquerque, and then when I was like 13, I moved into Albuquerque, so I lived there until I was 18.
Yeah.
And then I came back after college to shoot a short, and that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And then my parents lived there up until about 5 months ago, so I just went out there, and it was, my dad is the guy in the middle, the Gage, and he's been an actor. They owned a dinner theater in Albuquerque for 25 years, so it was good to have. I always try to put him in my movies, and I could go out there and at least get some sort of support from that. Yeah. And they have a very good ingrained film community in Albuquerque, so I knew that I could get some support because he's been in a couple movies there, and he could hook me up with some people to help me out.
So that was your dad?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. That's great. Did you get any kind of incentives out of New Mexico? I know it's a really great incentive program.
They do have a good incentive program. It's about 25%. The best thing about it is it's not like most other states. I don't know what the one is in Texas.
$250,000.
There it's zero minimum budget.
Wow.
Zero. You don't have to shoot at a facility. You don't have to shoot at a stage at all. It's just whatever money is spent in New Mexico, they'll refund basically 25% back. So that helped somewhat. I mean, luckily, Victoria and I paid it off last week. Was the final week of paying the movie off.
Yeah, late tax refund.
Yay! So yeah, we got some incentive through that, and then the rest of it we got some from Kickstarter, which was nice.
We had someone else that was here last night. Was it Friday night? The Perfect Match. Yeah, they had used Kickstarter. Yeah. How much money did you raise on Kickstarter?
We raised $10,000 from that. Some of it, most of it, for my mother. But
yeah,
they have
irrelevant. You raised it.
Yeah. They have an interesting way of doing about it because it's good for some things if you can get the word out. Sometimes if you can't, then you have to have a stopgap measure, because if you don't hit your goal, then they don't. Like, nobody's credit cards are charged and whatnot, right. So you kind of have to have a backup plan to, if you can't hit your goal, because you have to have a mom who's willing to give you some dough.
Well, the story is that in Kickstarter, if you're trying to raise $5,000, you set this limit to what you want to raise, and if you don't raise the full amount, then nobody that's donated has to pay, and you don't get any money. So you have to raise the amount that you set out to raise, and you get, what is it, 60 days?
Oh, it's any number of days, but they usually, between 30 and 60 is what their goal, like what they recommend. But we raised the money through my mother and then through my friends and family and stuff, and then we put up the rest of it and then put the rest of it on credit cards. So,
what was your starting budget like when you figured all this out?
We shot it for $25,000.
Awesome.
Obviously, one of the things that really kind of brings you into the world is the locations. And when you're watching the film, it's hard not to be like, oh, the art direction is incredible, the set design is unreal. But I was checking out your website, and are all the locations just found just like that?
New Mexico is filled with really shitty places that you can just drive up to and find. The only thing we paid for was the housing complex. You have to pay the state of New Mexico $40 for a permit. to shoot there. And then I had to pay this Santo Domingo Indian tribe $600 because they busted us and shut us down for about 8 hours. And then I had to go talk to the governor of the tribe and give him a check. And they were like, okay, go ahead and film for 3 days.
That's incredible. So basically, New Mexico is an apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Some of that stuff just looks like right outside Rio Rancho off of Coors Boulevard. I mean,
It is actually.
There's been some strange nights out there. I've been there, and it felt like I was like, oh my God, that's right by my brother's house off Unser Boulevard or something.
Yeah, that's actually exactly where most of the
I totally recognize it.
The first half of the movie.
Yeah.
First 15 to 20
Frank is my
minutes of
brother.
the movie is right out in that area. But we found, I found a housing, like a subdivision that was not fully built. We just talked to them. They really were supportive. They were really nice. They let us shoot, not only all of the scenes in the final sequence, but all of the, walking stuff was, and in fact, anything that is just like a desert is just a housing complex that's not finished being built. And then the house at the beginning was a power and water station, was the exterior, and then my brother's house was the interior.
Yeah, I want to get back to you. I mean, how did Paul? I mean, how did you guys hook up?
Well, my agency gave me the audition, I guess. I don't know. Did you find me?
We had a casting director that called a bunch of people and put them on videotape, and she was one of 3 or 4 girls that had stood out, and then I brought them all back in, and her and Eve clicked the best, and she was the standout among all of the girls. So,
but just to put you on the spot, we were talking earlier today. This is the first time you've seen it.
Well, I did see a very, very rough cut about a year ago, but yes, this is the first time I saw it, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
was it really crappy before?
No.
You still came up on stage, so it couldn't have been that awful an experience.
Just won an award for it, so maybe show a little gratitude. Jesus.
She was just sitting there the entire time thinking, oh yeah, award-winning. Award-winning. That look is an award-winning look. Right there.
I did that a couple times, yes.
Yeah. My arm hurts so much from that gun, but it's going to hurt more when I'm carrying awards all over the place.
It did. We had to I had to carry the gun around for half the time off camera because she couldn't carry it.
Well, when you make me hold it up like this for 3 hours.
She was like, it weighs 30 pounds. I was like, it literally weighs 2 pounds.
It did not. It weighed like 40.
No, it weighs 2 pounds. I weighed it. 2.
Your scale was broken.
You guys are obviously a couple, correct? It's really great working with the people that you love, and that's kind of creates a special bond. Tell us how you got involved with Paul, and yeah, it also drives a wedge between you and your spouse. But
No, it was great seeing Paul in action. It was especially, when it's working in an independent film like this, it's very much like a startup company, which is what I usually work in. And just having not many people on the crew and watching him fill multiple roles and keep a pretty calm demeanor throughout, it definitely was a new dimension to our relationship.
I don't really know what that means.
New dimension is very vague.
Yeah.
Almost sounded passive aggressive. I'm not even sure what that meant.
Yeah, do we want to open it up to the audience here since you're all sticking around? Anyone got any questions?
Yeah, there was a lot of labor intensive that I had to pay myself to do. No, I basically had to learn After Effects and a bunch of other stuff. The dream sequences themselves were, I had a friend who was the digital art director at MSNBC for like 5 years that I went to college with, and she designed all this stuff, and then she got 2 of the animators there to actually animate the sequences themselves. And then I did the rest of the compositing and did some touch-up work on their animation just to frame it the ways that I wanted it, and then edit it together. But for all the rest of the stuff, there's a lot of aging and things like that that I had to do, just because, you know, when you're working on this small budget, and me not being an art department person or a wardrobe person, not aging stuff was, you know, secondary in my mind. So I had to go back and do it afterwards, a lot of the stuff.
Well, you did a good job.
Well, thanks. Lynda.com, it'll teach you everything you need to know.